So we're going to be talking about tubular keys. All right. Have you always had questions about tubular keys? Now, I'm not talking about that tubular 70s vibe, all right? I'm talking about keys that are shaped like a tube, commonly used on vending machine locks, bike locks, and many other types of locks. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down so you can remove all of the questions you've ever had about tubular keys. So if you work with locks and keys, at some point you're going to be confronted with a tubular key, or maybe even a tubular lock. And I want to give you the information that you're going to want to know to start building the foundation when it comes to tubular keys and tubular locks. Now, all of the information that I'm going to be going over, you can download the PDF document. It's kind of like a little quick sheet that we made. That way, when you do encounter one, you can reference it really quick and kind of get yourself up to speed. And that's going to be in the notes below. Now, let's just start it off. Let's talk about sizes. So as you can see, there's 4 in the picture, but there's actually only 3 different sizes here. And you'll see the 1136S. All right, so that's going to be the small. And you might be thinking that the S at the end of the 1136S stands for small, and it actually doesn't. And this is really the start of where a lot of the confusion comes in, all right? So the letter at the end of the part number is actually telling you what the cutting part of the tubular key is made out of. So in the 1136S example, that's made out of steel. Now, when we move on to the next two, you'll see a 1137B and then a 1137S. The difference between them is that last letter at the end. One has a B, one has an S. And finally, we have the large version, and that part number is at L1137. Now, as you can see, this one's also made out of steel, but there's no S at the end, and I don't have an explanation as to why that is. Now, it has an L on the front of it, and that's actually common a lot when you look at ILCO part numbers. You'll see them add a letter to the beginning of the part number to, most of the time, how I've always viewed it is it's the longer version of it when you see that letter in front of it. So probably by now you can see that there can be a lot of confusion when it comes to the part numbers and what you actually need to order. Now let's talk about some real use applications and what's important here. And the first thing I want to bring up is you can see in the pictures, you can see the outside diameter and the inside diameter of each one of these keys. And so what you can do by using this inside and outside diameter information is you can actually, on the lock itself, you can measure the outside diameter opening and the inside diameter opening and make sure that you're ordering the proper key. And you can also use that same exact principle to measure an existing key that you have if you don't have any to compare it to. Just simply measure the outside diameter and the inside diameter and make sure that you order the correct one. Now, the next point I want to bring up is we get a lot of questions about the 7 and 8 pin keys, right? Now, typically, whether it's a SC1 or a SC4, when a key is a 6 pin or a 5 pin or a 7 pin, well, they're going to be different lengths. Well, in the case of tubular keys, you use the same exact key for both 7 and 8 pin keys. So they're actually the same key. The difference is the spacing on the key itself. Now this brings me to a couple tips I want to go over with you. Now the first one is by far, without a shadow of a doubt, I mean it's actually not even funny, the difference, is the 1137B or S is by far the most popular size. So if you're going to really choose to stock one, it's going to want to be that 1137B or S. Now, along with that, a lot of times other manufacturers and a lot of us actually refer to that key as just the 137B or the 137S, or you'll even hear a 136B. The first number just kind of gets kicked off to the side. So if you hear someone talking about 137B or 136S, something like that, they're referring to these keys. Now, the next tip I have for you is that because we cut keys and, well, when our cutters go dull, we have to buy new ones, I highly recommend, if you can, to order the 1137B, the brass cutting part. That way your cutter will last longer. And lastly, if you find yourself cutting a lot of these tubular keys, in particular the 137B, you are gonna wanna make sure that you're ordering the part number HPC-137B. It's a 50 pack and it's at an extreme discount over just buying the keys in like a 10 pack. And of course, I'll be putting links in the notes below to all of the products that we're talking about. All right, well, I really hope that this information is helpful. Make sure you download the PDF on these tubular keys. And I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure that you include the hashtag Lockboss to automatically get entered in to win one of 5 free prizes we give away each week on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.